All right, we're gonna talk about foliage, different types of foliage, how they're made, and give you a little education so you've got some insight into telling your customers, what a certain piece is, and that you know a little bit of how things are made. All right, to start off here, I've got a piece of garland. All right, this is our mixed cashmere garland. It has a base of PVC. All right, let's talk about PVC. This garland is spun on a central hard wire. You'll see right here, the PVC is very tight on the end. And that's what the center trunk is of the entire garland, all right? The PVC, each of these tips is a certain mil. A mil is a thickness, and it denotes and controls how sturdy each of these tips are. In this tip, for instance, it's got black and light PVC, also spun with a little tiny brown. This is called raffia. Okay, that's what everybody calls it. So we've got light and dark PVC and a little raffia as the spine of the tip. All right, all these guys are on here. PVC is the least expensive of all materials in all branches. You're going to find PVC on all branches, on interiors of trees, because it makes the interior of the tree full and takes up space. Let's talk about pine. Okay, so we've got a mixture here of pine and cashmere. Pine is it is actually made by a process called extrusion. Once the pine needle itself is formed, it's put into a machine where all the individual needles are then spun. It's a machine very similar to actually how toilet brushes are made. So that's kind of fun. So here's a big, giant pine branch for you. This guy, here's a little one. He's dark. It's a dark pine, all right? Now right back here, we've got cashmere. Cashmere, or exploded tips, cashmere is actually a piece of pine that's been smashed. And that's what creates this fuzziness on the branch tip itself. Cashmere is a name for a pine that's been stomped on and squashed. Okay, so here's this garland with 3 different types of material in it. We've got the PVC spun, we've got the pine, extruded pine, or hard needle. It's also called a hard needle. That's a term many people use, and we use it here in HBL as well. And then we've got our cashmere. So again, this is a piece of garland that I cut off for an example. And that cashmere creates a nice texture and depth at times. Okay? All right. So then we're going to move on to some molded tips. Our molds are derived from actual trees, and then the materials that are put in the molds, they're painted and colored like the exact trees. You'll see the light color here on the end, and then it comes down to a blue. It's really amazing how lifelike and how beautiful these trees are, or these tips are. We have a piece of pine here. We have a plastic pine cone on the end. On the interior, again, we've got our less expensive PVC. This here on our grand fir, we have our molded tip again. It's a little bit bigger tip. On the spine of each piece, it's actually painted brown. That's really amazing. All right, on this one right here, this is our large nostalgic noble. These are both in our realistic tree line. Actually, all 3 of these are. Again, side branches to add extra oomph on the bottom of the branch and the bottom of the tree. You'll see on these molded tips, there's actually a bottom and a top. This is the underside. Looking on the top, this is exactly how you will see and find a noble in nature. Even the feeling is really cool. And lastly, on types of foliage of trees, we've got the flocked tree branch. Okay, I got into a fight with this one. I, of course, took off the lights, so I messed it up here a little bit. It's got molded tree tips on the end here. The interior is the spun PVC, typically. So flocking is made from water. It's a water and dry mixture, and it's sprayed on, sort of like a spray concrete. The trees are spun on a rotating stand, and it's applied as evenly as possible, or someone walks around the trees. You'll see the underneath is not flocked as much, thankfully. And it's just on the top of this one. This is as a semi-heavy flock. You'll find other flockings that are kind of a medium flock, and then there's other type of flockings that are kind of like a dust, just a nice frosted look. It's not heavy and it's not going to shed as much. We'll look at some of those other trees as well.